Hello, boys and girls. I am looking at day 5 of your week 3 packet. And let's take a look at the learning goal for today, okay? Today, this is what we're doing. We're going to decompose unit fractions using area models to show equivalency, okay? Just to remind you that up until today, we have been using tape diagrams, which look like this, okay? We decomposed with vertical lines up and down. Today, instead of tape diagrams, we're using area models, which means that we're going to use vertical, but also horizontal lines to decompose, because in essence, that is what area models are. Area means length times width, remember? And so if we're drawing area models, we need both vertical and horizontal lines. So basically what we're doing today is we're showing how two fractions are equal by using area models. Okay, that's what we're doing today. So let's go ahead and begin here. I am going to read the directions and then we will begin. It says, number 1, draw horizontal lines to decompose each rectangle into the number of rows as indicated. Okay, and then it says, use the model to give the shaded area as both a sum of unit fractions and as a multiplication sentence. This is a multi-step set of directions, okay? So let's take it one task at a time. The first one says to draw horizontal lines to decompose into the number of rows that they are telling me, okay? So I would like to begin with B, okay? So it says that I need to make 2 rows. But before I begin, I want to name this shaded unit, okay? This fraction. You can barely see it. It's really light, but it's this section right here that is shaded. Okay? Now, in this case, for this lesson, one rectangle, the entire rectangle, means one whole. Okay? And so let me go ahead and name this fraction by, first of all, determining how many units inside one whole I have. That way I can write my denominator. And I can clearly see that inside one whole, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So 4 is my denominator. Now, of those 4, 1 is shaded. So this section, shaded section, is 1/4, okay? Now that I named, that would be my first step. Name the unit. Now that I named the unit that I am starting out with, let me go ahead and do the task, which is to draw horizontal lines to make the number of rows that they are indicating, okay? B indicates that I should make 2 rows, not 2 lines, but I need to make 2 rows. So then I need to decide if I need 2 rows, as in 1 row, 2 rows. I'm going to put another row in there. That way I can clearly see that it's 2 rows total, okay? If I need 2 rows and I need to draw horizontal lines, I can clearly see that I'm going to need 1 horizontal line, because if I draw 1 horizontal line, that should give me my 2 rows, okay? So here's 1 row plus another row. That's a total of 2 rows. Okay, so now that I decomposed by drawing 1 horizontal line, let me now name the new fraction that I made. Because now inside one whole, I have a new total number of units. The new total number of units is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now my denominator is 8. And of those 8 smaller units, I can see that 1, 2 are shaded. So I just created a new fraction by decomposing with the horizontal line. I just created the new fraction 2/8. And if you notice, I didn't shade in any more than what it was already shaded. So in essence, what this is showing me is that the same shaded area, that means 1/4, is the same shaded area that also means 2/8. So 1/4 is the same as 2/8. They mean the same shaded space or area. Okay? So that was task 1. Okay, to draw the horizontal lines to make the rows that they're asking me to make. The other task says to use the model to write an addition and a multiplication sentence. So let me go ahead and do that, okay? To do that, I am going to name the smaller units that I made. Since I made 8 total, each of these smaller units is 1/8, okay? 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 and so on here. So that's going to help me to write the sum or the addition sentence, okay? To write the sum or the addition sentence, I am going to begin by writing down the fraction that I initially had. I initially had 1/4. And then I can show that 1/4 is the same as 1/8 plus another 1/8. Okay? And that makes sense because if I add 1/8 plus 1/8, I get 2/8, which means actually that 1/4 equals 2/8. Okay? Remember the goal said to use area models to show how two fractions are equal, and I just did. Now, the other task was to write a multiplication sentence, okay? So I am going to do that right in here. Now, if you remember from past lessons, the multiplication would be the shortcut to this repeated addition, okay? So 1/8 plus 1/8 can be written as 2 times what? 2 times 1/8. Okay, and 2 times 1/8 is the same as 2/8. Okay, so I can say, so 1/4 is the same as 2 times 1/8, which is the same as 2/8. So 1/4 is equal to 2/8. And that's it. That would be it for number 1. Okay, and let's see what else is in here. Okay, so number 2 says, draw area models to show the decomposition represented by the number sentences below. And then represent the decomposition as a sum of unit fractions and as a multiplication sentence. So we are doing the same here, except they're giving us the two fractions that we need to represent by drawing the area model, okay? So let me actually point this out. This is a shaded section for this problem. Okay, so in other words, we need to prove how 1/3 equals 2/6 by drawing an area model. So I'm gonna draw a box. It needs to be wide, unlike tape diagrams, okay? And then actually and then I need to show, first of all, I need to begin by representing 1/3, okay? So I need 3 total units inside. I'm going to draw 2 vertical lines, okay? And so that way I have 1, 2, 3. And then one of them needs to be shaded. Okay, and then I'm gonna show with a little tiny bracket here that this is 1/3. Okay, now 1/3 needs to be the same shaded space as this other fraction, 2/6. So 2/6 should be here, okay? Now, if I started out with 3 units and I need 6, that means that I need to make rows by drawing horizontal lines, okay? Now I need to decide, if I draw one horizontal line in the middle, is that going to give me 6 total units? It does, because now I have 2, 4, 6 units. So that works. I am going to draw one horizontal line, okay? And so if you notice now, instead of 3 units, now I have 6 total. So that means that each of these smaller units is 1/6. Okay? So then right here, I just proved that the same shaded space, that means 1/3, is also the same shaded space that means 2/6. Okay? I just showed how those two fractions are equal. The other task was to write a sum in a multiplication sentence. So remember, to write the sum, I began with a fraction that I started out with, and I started with 1/3. Okay? And then I can say 1/3 is the same as 1/6 plus 1/6, because 1/6 plus 1/6 is 2/6, which means that 1/3 is the same as 2/6. Okay, they're equal. Okay, and so that would be the sum. I also need a multiplication sentence. I'm going to put it down here. Okay, and so again, start with the fraction that you started out with. 1/3 is the same as, now multiplication, that would be the repeated addition that we're doing here. Okay, we're adding 1/6 plus 1/6. That means 2 times 1/6. Okay, and I know that if I only focus on the multiplication part of this equation, I know that 2 times 1 is 2, and then invisible 1 times 6 is 6. So this all works. 1/3 is the same as 2 times 1/6, which means 2/6. So I can say, so 1/3 equals 2/6, which is what we are modeling or representing here with the area model. Okay, and that's it. I guess the main thing about number 2 is begin with your first fraction, okay, and then once you have represented it in your area model, then decide, how many horizontal lines am I going to need? Am I going to need 1? Am I going to need 2, 3, or 4, and so on, to make the new denominator? Okay, and then once you do that, then go on to write your addition and multiplication sentences. Okay, and I think that is it for day 5. The last one says, explain why this, oh, I'm sorry. Explain why this addition of unit fractions is the same as 1/3. So you're going to explain, you can either explain with words, it doesn't say specifically how to explain, so you may choose to use the words or an area model or even number sentences. Okay, and so that would be it for day 5. Again, if you need help, I am always available to answer your questions. You can either call me or text me or message me through Class Dojo.